I don't know, they're connected.
I think we have a extension cord in the lab,
Yeah.
white with an orange box head. Shoot, we're
I can,
no, we're have an extension cord for you.
yes, for the record.
I promise, we got you.
Yeah. I'm assuming we're still waiting. That one, there should be daisy changes.
No, we can go when we're ready, I guess. Christine, or do we have quorum, or what's our process?
Right?
Do we have quorum, or what is our process? Do you know?
I'm logging on to Zoom to see who's here.
Gotcha.
That's true. You need that in. I'm trying to find the controller. I'm gonna go in front.
They went to an event this weekend, which is why we're freaking out.
Yeah.
They go to this event, and the kids play, and she forgot she played. So she was sore on her side.
Oh, 16.
She's 16, you should know better. But she, she was tired. Well, of course she was up. So, but if you just read the list of symptoms, like, no, the next,
Everything is like.
by 10 o'clock at night, she felt fine. She was upstairs. Yeah, so it was like, all right. That's the second time. She actually had 3 days in June. She had a flat out fever, 101, 102. No other symptoms, just yes. But that was those worries. She got sick, so I had to call. I turned paperwork in your office here for his can't they were 6 feet apart. You have to protect yourself. She was fine too. But it was, I quarantined and I think it happened on a Thursday, so I shut everybody down. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so by Monday morning.
Where's that phone ringing?
What phone was ringing? It was ringing during the thing too. There's nothing. I didn't answer it. So you might want to.
Good job. Okay, can someone who is on Zoom say something so we can be sure that we can hear you in the conference room?
Yep, testing 1, 2, 3, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yay! Good job, Kenny.
All right, so we're ready? I will now call this meeting to order. And the electronic message.
I emailed it to you.
Okay.
Do you want to print it for you real quick?
Yes. Well,
A second, so I'll pull it up for you. All right.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and related state of emergency, and as set forth in the Commission's Resolution 20-05-01 from the May 7, 2020 meeting, we are meeting in person and remotely this month. The public access is being provided by live streaming the meeting on PRTC's YouTube channel. This information was on PRTC's website, Facebook page, and the Transit Center, as well as being advertised in Inside Nova and the Freelance Star. We will follow the same meeting process as before. Please state your name when speaking. I will introduce each item, then ask for a motion and a second. I will repeat the names of who made the motion second. I will then ask each jurisdiction if there are any comments or questions from their representatives on this item. For example, I will say Prince William County, are you there? Any comments or questions? Are there any comments or questions? I will then ask Christine Rodrigo to take the vote by roll call. Commissioners who need to leave the meeting should verbally advise me prior to leaving so the time can be reflected in the meeting minutes. Are there any questions about the process from Prince William County? Stafford County?
Done.
Manassas City?
Done.
Manassas Park?
Done.
Fredericksburg? And Spotsylvania?
None.
And now we will move into the invocation. I will provide the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Should we all stand and bow? Lord, thank you for the moment that you have brought us together for the first time, for some of us in person, to be able to do the public's business. We thank you for our transit workers and the ability that they provide to our community to get people to and from work, to and from the grocery stores, to and from the doctors. We ask that you just place your holy hand upon all of them, that they may remain safe throughout their duties. Thank you for the commissioners, and just give us the ability to work productively together and effectively. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. We'll now do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Christine, will you now call the roll?
Yes, Madam Chair. Victor Angry?
Yes.
Andrea Bailey? Present. Kenny Bodie?
Present.
Margaret Franklin?
Present.
Janine Lawson? Yesley Vega?
Present.
Ann Wheeler? Pete Camlin?
Present.
Maggie Hansford? Benny Smith?
Here.
For Prince William County, we will have, Mr. Camlin will be a voting member, taking the place of Supervisor Lawson this evening, and Benny Smith is participating as a non-voting alternate. From Stafford County, Tanisha Allen,
Present.
Cindy Shelton. Here. Meg Bumpy, Gary Snelling. From City of Manassas, Pam Zadesky.
Present.
Ralph Smith.
Present.
From City of Manassas Park, Jeanette Ruschel.
Here.
Preston Banks. Hector Sandeja. Donald Shoemaker. From City of Fredericksburg, Matthew Kelly. Jason Graham. From Spotsylvania County, Deborah Frazier.
Here.
Gary Skinner. Tim McLaughlin. David Ross. From DRTT, Jennifer Mitchell. Jennifer DeBrule. Todd Horsley.
Here.
And Steve Pitters. From the Speaker of the House delegate, Lee Carter. Elizabeth Guzman.
Present.
And from the Virginia Senate, George Barker. Madam Chair, we do have a quorum.
Okay, we'll now move into approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Angry.
Moved by Supervisor Angry, seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I'm gonna do the roll call. Victor Angry,
Aye.
Andrea Bailey. Kenny Bodie,
Aye.
Margaret Franklin,
Aye.
Yesley Vega,
Aye.
Pete Camlin,
Aye.
Tanisha Allen,
Aye.
Cindy Shelton,
Aye.
Pam Sadetsky,
Aye.
Jeanette Richel,
Yes.
Deborah Frazier,
Aye.
I believe, Tim McLaughlin is, joining us. Has he joined? Okay, not yet. Todd Horsley,
Aye.
Elizabeth Guzman, Delegate Guzman,
Present.
okay, we were, that was a motion on the agenda. Do you vote yea or nay?
J.
Madam Chair, that resolution is passed.
We'll now move into item 5, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved by Rishel.
Second, Bailey.
Moved by Mayor Rishel, seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Is there any discussion? Christine, will you please call the roll?
Victor Angry. Andrea Bailey. Kenny Bodie.
Aye.
Margaret Franklin.
Aye.
Yesley Vega.
Aye.
Pete Camlin.
Abstain.
Tanisha Allen.
Abstain.
Cindy Shelton.
Aye.
Pam Sadetsky.
Aye.
Jeanette Richel.
Yes.
Deborah Frazier.
Aye.
Todd Horsley.
Aye.
Elizabeth Guzman.
Aye.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
We'll now move into item 6, the VRE CEO report. Mr. Rich Dalton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could I get a sound check there, Madam Chair, real quick?
We can hear you well.
We can also hear you online.
Thank you very much. Good evening, commissioners and others. VRE continues to operate at a reduced service level. For the month of July and August, ridership increased from approximately 1,000 daily riders at the beginning of July to approximately 1,200 daily riders at the end of August. On-time performance for the month of July was 94% system-wide. On-time performance for the month of August was 90% system-wide. On August 26th, I informed the operations board of a trespasser incident involving a VRE train 325 near Burke Center Station. Unfortunately, the person died at the scene. We continue to push out our condolences to the family and friends of the victim. Once again, I want to thank the team at OmniRide and Fairfax Connector for providing the needed bus bridges to ensure our passengers that were affected by this incident arrived home that night, as the rail line was shut down for approximately 4 hours. Fairfax County Police, Norfolk Southern, and VRE continue to investigate and will provide further updates once they are available. For the past several months, we have developed and implemented health and safety measures to welcome the return of our riders to VRE. We continue to enhance those measures and monitor our peers in the region and nationally for best practices and opportunities for improvement. We continue to push daily messaging through social media, direct communications with our riders, and other means to highlight the measures we have taken and provide our riders with information they seek to bring back to VRE. As a reminder, Passengers are required to wear face coverings while onboard VRE trains and at our stations. We are currently seeing a nearly 100% daily compliant with the face covering requirement. Our train conductors do have face coverings available on board every VRE train in the event our riders need them. The week of August 10th, I shared with the Operations Board a summarized, unaudited review of the end-of-year financials for FY 2020. Just to recap that, before accounting for any emergency federal or state aid related to the pandemic, VRE's preliminary net operating position for FY 2020 was approximately $900,000, which is a small surplus relative to the total operating expenses of almost $81 million. VRE was able to achieve this result despite the collapse of ridership and fare revenue that began in March, to a strong starting position in February, reduced expenses as a result of the lower service levels, and of course, management directives to defer discretionary activities. VRE staff continues to work remotely. All business functions are fully operational as we continue to maintain a continuity of operations. In the coming weeks, I'll report on financial results from July and August as we are now into our fiscal year 2021. We continue to scenario plan for varying levels of ridership revenue for the fiscal year. And of course, we continue to maintain prudent fiscal management as we work our way through these uncertain times. And finally, my focus continues to be the health and safety of our riders, staff, and contracted providers with an eye on life after COVID. That's the end of my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. Are there any questions from commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Mayor Rischel?
Does the VRE have a sense of whether or not, when the time comes to do the survey, the ridership survey, will it have to be changed if we're still in the pandemic, or do you have any plans for that?
Yes, Mayor, we had this discussion at our July meeting with the Operations Board and specifically with our Finance Committee. And we'll continue that discussion to some level at our September meeting. But what we were looking at is, and you point out an obvious opportunity for us, is that that our traditional survey would not likely be represented in the current environment. So what we've proposed, and again, we'll have additional discussions at our September meeting, is essentially using the results that were used for the the FY21 budget. So that's an option for us. And again, we're going to further those discussions at the September 18th Operations Board.
So just, did I hear correctly that it's not really been decided yet, so that it'll be decided at the next meeting?
That's
or fine-tuned?
Mayor Rochelle.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any questions from Prince William County? Any questions from the city of Manassas?
No questions.
Any additional questions from Manassas Park?
No, thank you.
Stafford County?
No, thank you.
Fredericksburg? Spotsylvania?
No questions.
We'll now move into item 6.2. This is to authorize closed meeting of PRTC Commission to discuss personnel matters concerning the appointment of the VRE CEO and personnel matters concerning the Commission's Executive Director's performance evaluation. I'll turn it to Ms. Sharon Pendak for the resolution.
Madam Chair, you have in front of you in your agenda package a resolution. It says, and Supervisor Angry has my package now, and we are going into closed meeting for personnel matters pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1. One personnel matter concerning the appointment of Virginia Railway Express Chief Executive Officer, and a personnel matter concerning the Commission's Executive Director's performance evaluation.
So moved, Pam Spelke.
Second, Rischel.
Is there any discussion? But before I go down the roll, Do I need to read who is authorized to be into closed session? I don't have a list.
Yes, we do need to know that, so that, for the closed session, we will have only the commission members.
Okay. And before we call the vote, do you want to, Christine, just read out who is authorized to be in closed session, just so we're clear?
Yes. Those who are authorized to be in this closed session are all members of the PRTC Board of Commissioners, whether you are a voting member or an alternate. And for this first half of the closed session, it will be Rich Dalton, Sharon Tandak, and Steve McIsaac. If you choose to have those three in the meeting, it's up to you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And with that, we'll now call the roll.
Victor Angry? Aye. Andrea Bailey? Aye. Kenny Bodie?
Aye.
Margaret Franklin?
Aye.
Leslie Vega?
Aye.
Pete Canlon?
Aye.
Pam Sabetsky?
Aye.
Jeanette Ritchell?
Yes.
Tanisha Allen?
Yes.
Cindy Shelton?
Yes.
Deborah Frazier?
Aye.
Todd Horsley?
Aye.
And I believe that, Senator Barker has joined us. Senator Barker?
Aye.
Guzman?
Oh, did I not say, I'm sorry, Delia Guzman?
Aye.
While you're in closed session, should an emergency for weather alert, et cetera, out those doors, down the stairs, and stay put. That's our emergency evacuation spot, just with all the tornado warnings and everything.
Can you say that again?
Out those doors, there's a staircase immediately to the right, go
Okay.
straight down the stairs, and we'll see you there.
Okay.
But we'll come get you.
How do we know when to go? Does a bell go
Yeah.
off, or?
Yeah, we may come in and alert you, or your phones, or you may hear it.
Okay.
But-
Thank you.
We'll now go into closed session.
And
Yes, that is simply a camera, and I've turned off the recorder.
Okay. And electronically, I'm assuming we only have our commissioners, available.
And Mr. Dalton is, unless you want him to leave the meeting.
Okay, all right,
I would assume that this is the Vic Angry show?
Who's that?
Who's doing, Mr. Dalton, you are? Who's from VRE that's in here?
Mr. McIsaac. Mr. McIsaac, are you on the line?
I don't think they're all in the breakout just yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I am.
McIsaac.
I am
Okay, I
on
think
the
we're
line,
still
yes.
waiting for everyone to get into the
Yeah.
breakout room, and then we'll turn it over to you to speak.
I'll let you know when it's in.
Great,
You're all
thank
in the
you.
breakout room.
He's, okay. Rich, can you join the breakout room,
Yes,
please?
this is Rich.
Yes, you should have gotten a link to join the breakout room. It might have opened in a different window.
Okay, I'm looking for it.
Okay.
I don't see it. But you do have breakout rooms. Let's see.
Take him out, put him back in.
Okay. He's in?
Okay. Thank you, Cal.
Okay, Chair Franklin, everybody's in your breakout room, it's closed down, ready to go, sorry.
And, just for clarification.
And I walked in there because I had to hit the join meeting on the video cameras.
Oh.
On the two, so they could
Right.
see
Right.
them.
Right.
And so, because Christine had left. And so I went in, I was flying in there and I went, I don't have my mask. And so then I was doing this. I said, I'm so sorry. So they all put their mask on. I said, I'm so sorry. I just.
We can hear you.
YouTube appears to have audio. YouTube has audio.
Cheers. Oh, I don't know what you want.
It's Tim McLaughlin.
Here's your phone over here, Doris.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I think I better sit in my, Bob, I'm gonna go
Um,
fight myself in front of the computer.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and put you into the closed meeting. Hold on just a moment.
Okay, Madam Chair, Madam Chair, we have a motion to certify closed meeting.
I'm gonna make a motion to certify.
And the resolution in essence says that pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.23712, you are certifying that you only talk about those matters for which you properly went into closed meeting.
Yes, is there a motion to certify?
Shelton.
Ms. Shelton, is there a second?
Second, Sebeski?
Seconded by Madam Sebeski. Is there discussion? Ms. Rodrigo, would you call the roll?
Victor Angry? Aye. Andrew Bailey? Aye. Kenny Bodie?
Aye.
Margaret Franklin?
Aye.
Leslie Vega?
Aye.
Pete Canlin?
Aye.
Pam Sebeski?
Aye.
Jeanette Richel?
Yes.
Tanisha Allen?
Aye.
Cindy Shelton?
Aye.
Deborah Frazier?
Aye.
Todd Horsley?
Yes.
Elizabeth Guzman?
Aye.
George Parker?
Aye.
Madam Chair, that resolution has passed.
Okay. I guess we'll turn it over to Mr. McIsaac for, to read out the resolution for VRE.
Madam Chairman, I'm happy to do that. Would you like me to read the entirety of the resolution, including all the recitals?
Titles are fine.
The recitals are fine. All right, this is a resolution, proposed resolution entitled Appointment of the VRE Chief Executive Officer. Whereas PRTC appointed Richard A. Dalton as the acting VRE Chief Executive Officer effective 11 p.m. on November 14, 2019, when a vacancy arose in that position, and delegated to the VRE Operations Board responsibility to recruit and recommend to the Commission candidates for appointment to the position. And whereas the VRE Operations Board established a nationwide VRE CEO recruitment and selection process utilizing the services of a recruitment contractor, and appointed a VRE CEO selection committee to manage the process. And whereas 54 candidates submitted applications for the position and 3 finalists were selected by the selection committee for interview. And whereas having concluded its recruitment and selection process, the VRE Operations Board recommends the appointment of Richard A. Dalton as the VRE CEO in accordance with the terms of the employment agreement agreed upon by the Operations Board and Mr. Dalton and presented to the Commission, which is called the Employment Agreement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission hereby appoints Richard A. Dalton as the VRE Chief Executive Officer, effective upon action by each of the commissions, NBTC and PRTC, and execution of the aforesaid employment agreement by the Commission and Mr. Dalton. And be it further resolved that the Potomac and Rappahannock Transportation Commission hereby approves the employment agreement and authorizes the chair to execute it on behalf of the commission.
So moved. Moved by Vice Chair Sebeski, seconded by Supervisor Bailey. Is there discussion? Ms. Rodrigo, would you call the roll?
Victor Angry?
Aye.
Andrew Bailey? Aye. Kenny Bodie?
Aye.
Margaret Franklin?
Aye.
Leslie Vega?
Aye.
Pete Canlin?
Aye.
Pam Sebeski?
Aye.
Jeanette Richel?
Yes.
Tanisha Allen?
Aye.
Cindy Shelton? Aye. Deborah Frazier?
Aye.
Todd Horsley?
Aye.
Elizabeth Guzman?
Aye.
And George Parker.
Aye.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, we will turn it over now to Ms. Pandak for the resolution with regards to PRTC.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I think everybody has a copy. I gave you two, but you can give Dr. Snyder a copy. I don't think we can put it up on the screen unless Becky says Ms. Meredith can tell me she can do that. So I'll read the resolution if you want me to do that.
Sure, please.
Approval of the Potomac Rappahannock Transportation Commission Executive Director's 2020 Performance Evaluation Review. Whereas in accordance with Section 8 of the employment agreement between the Potomac Rappahannock Transportation Commission and its Executive Director, the Commission established performance incentives. Whereas the Commission has evaluated the performance of the Executive Director, and whereas members of the Commission's Executive Committee recommended acceptance of the performance evaluation of the Executive Director and payment of the supplemental payment, now therefore be it resolved that the Commission hereby approves the performance evaluation of the Executive Director. Be it further resolved that the Commission, in accordance with Section 8 of the Executive Director's employment agreement, approves the supplemental payment of $4,000 to its Executive Director for his work between July 1, 2019 to June 30th, 2020, based on the performance measures agreed to by the Commission and the Executive Director.
So moved. Is there a second? Discussion?
Second.
Is there discussion? Ms. Rodrigo, would you call the roll?
Victor Angry?
Aye.
Andrea Bailey? Aye. Kenny Bodie?
Aye.
Margaret Franklin?
Aye.
Kathleen Vega?
Aye.
Pete Camlin?
Aye.
Pam Sadowski?
Aye.
Tanisha Allen?
Aye.
Cindy Shelton?
Aye.
Deborah Fraser?
Aye.
Todd Horsley?
Aye.
Elizabeth Guzman?
Aye.
And George Parker?
You forgot me.
Aye.
Sorry, Jeanette Rochelle.
Yes.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay. All right, I have here for item 6.4, VRE information items. I think he's already gone over that. So I believe we can move to item 7, which is public comment time, and I believe we have comments to read.
That's correct, Madam Chair. We had publicized that because the meeting was not open to the public, but people can watch the live stream, that anyone who wanted to submit comments could email them to me and I would read them. And we have at least 7 comments. The first one is from Vic Cortez. All of these, incidentally, are bus operators, I believe. So this was the email from Vic Cortez. Number 1, bus barrier protection for operators. Number 2, separate out vacation bonus check from payroll paychecks. Number 3, when sometimes I've completed my route and get asked by dispatch if I can help out with another route because that route driver or operator was a no-show, and I volunteer to help out for transit, they need to pay hours as they would have paid that driver who was a no-show, not just giving me whatever minutes or hours took me to get done with that other route. Number 4, pay up personals. I have 7, according to Joey. I already took out 4. The other 3 I was denied by Joey. His reply was because First Transit was leaving. I replied, that has nothing to do with me. This 3 days are September 25th, September 28th, and October 16th, 2020 that were denied. Number 5, water. Don't have to be asking for it. If they have it, they're on the dispatch window. Number 6, safety meetings not during shift/weekdays. Some drivers need to get some sleep. Number 7, my outfit shirts were taken by another bus operator. I know for a fact they were not handed to me personally. I washed them at home. Number 8, bigger lobby, not big enough. I got a few more but ran out of time. Management needs to be more friendly. Most of them got issues and attitudes. And then he sent a follow-up. Oh, and when we ask for separate checks, it's because the bigger the amount of the check, Uncle Sam's eyes get bigger and takes out more money. The next message is from somebody, their email is Sumia, and it's SJIHAN.Ahmed70. To whom this may concern, I am emailing regarding pay for my vacation for 2019-2020. I have been working for First Transit for 12 years now. Each year, I've had paid vacation. First Transit is refusing to pay my vacation for the 2019-2020 year and only wants to pay vacation from April through October 2020. This is happening because their contract ends on October 31st, meaning they don't really have regards as to whether they were paid or not. As a loyal employee, this is ludicrous and unfair. Can something be done to stop this and get paid for my vacation days? Thank you. The next message is from Lisa Dupree. Hello, I am an employee of First Transit, and I have several concerns that I feel need to be brought to your attention. First of all, let me start with vacation time issues. In the handbook of First Transit, it states 10 years of service with the company, you get 4 weeks of vacation. Well, as of August 7th, 2020, I have been employed with them for 13 years. So how is it they feel I owe them vacation time of 42.69 hours, accumulating to $1,176.96? Right now, with COVID-19 and all that's going on, no one has this kind of money just laying around for them to pay for my paycheck or anything else when I have children at home, when I have children and a home to take care of for my family. I'm the only one working right now with my husband being laid off from his job. Times are hard and we are struggling right now. Another concern is there is no type of protection for us on the bus. We could use some type of barriers to protect us from customers, and the company, First Transit OmniRide, needs to enforce the wearing of face masks while riding on the bus. The cases of COVID-19 is growing tremendously in our area, and we need to help stop the spread of it by all means necessary. Cleaning of the vehicles is another issue. I know for a fact that the buses do not get cleaned like they state because every day when I get off my bus, I leave some type of trash on purpose just to see if it's still there the next day, and the majority of the time it is. So if they are not cleaning the buses, then I know they're not being sanitized like they should be every night in between shifts. Right now, having crowds of people should not be happening, but this is what we have to do when we have to wait around to clock in and clock out. Before we got paid by the manifest, we worked, and right now, this is how it should be, so we are not crowded around waiting to punch a clock. It would help with social distancing. Why can't we ever get answers from the management company? When addressed, for example, I asked on Friday, what is the protocol for informing us about cases of COVID-19 being discovered in the workplace with fellow employees? The answer was, I don't know, but I will find out and get back to you. I believe a protocol should have already been discussed once this situation had been discovered, not wait until something happens or someone gets the illness. This company is not taking these issues serious or our lives serious, and someone needs to answer for this besides those of us that are suffering. Thank you for the time and hearing my concerns. The next message is from Brahimi Mohammed. Hi, my name is Brahimi Mohammed, bus operator at First Transit, Woodbridge, Virginia. I will be more than happy to share with you that First Transit is holding the operators to punch out after finishing the duty. First Transit refused to pay our vacation time and PTO and providing us in writing our balances. First Transit is not respecting social distancing while waiting to punch out. The management refused to pay the sign-on bonus to the operators. The facility is less clean and the buses need to be sanitized many times, not once the whole day. There is no barriers in the buses to protect the operators from passengers. Thank you so much. The next message is from Robin Crabtree. Hi, I am a bus operator. I drive the Dumfries Link. I have brought it to the attention of the dispatchers and management There are a lot of people refusing to wear masks on the bus. Many of them have a mask on their chin, but won't cover mouth and nose. They cough without covering as well. I'm given the masks and they still refuse to wear them. I have asthma and I'm claustrophobic and get migraines from the pressure on my nose and still have to wear my mask. So I don't feel it's okay for these people to be riding around without their masks. Also, at the August safety meeting, we were informed of limits a bus link is not to have more than 13 during the pandemic. On several occasions, I have contacted dispatch to let them know that my bus was full and more were trying to get on. I've been told each time to let them on and keep going. I've had up to 17 people on my bus and have had no choice but to allow them in the marked off areas near the front of the bus. Please address these issues so we can be more comfortable coming to work during this time. It's scary knowing I could get sick at any moment because my employer won't enforce the requirements set by government. Next is a message from Asima Ralph. As you know, the cases of coronavirus have come positive. On our side, my question is that those of us who get rid of our jobs quickly, then all the drivers sit down and wait for ADP card to punch out. Is it right to wait? Is it possible that if we finish work early and leave, we will be paid for our work and we will not have to wait? Is this possible only for safety? When COVID-19 started, everyone used to do the same thing. We used to finish work early and go home. We didn't have to wait. Now the cases have also come up positive, 2 people at the job. What do you think is best? Kindly think about it. Thanks. Next is a message from Erica Burrell. We're out here on the front lines exposed to so many people while providing bus service. We're doing our best to keep ourselves safe by wearing a mask, gloves, washing hands, and using hand sanitizer, spraying and wiping down the driver area, and even changing uniform before returning for a PM shift. What we need from you: ensure that items listed above are available at all times. Driver protection barriers installed on the buses. Permit drivers to go home without being penalized once they've completed their run, instead of being amongst each other waiting to punch out based on their off-duty time. Block off seats on all buses that are being used. Post COVID alert signs and reminders at entry doors on all buses being used. Limit amount of passengers on all in-service buses. Assign the same bus in its assigned space to each operator every day. And separately, earned leave. We have not received clear communication regarding this. Before the contract ends with First Transit, when can we expect to receive a payout for unused leave? We also need a printout of the balance of the unused leave, the unused earned leave as well. Looking forward to a positive outcome. And I do have one more message that was just submitted at the end of the day today. This is a statement from Gwen Robinson. I want it to be clear that on one side, 235 people cannot be totally wrong about their unused vacation and personal sick days they have earned. On the other side, one individual cannot be completely right, that is willing to gamble against the odds, hoping that we will not fight for what we have earned because he has much to gain. There also should be oversight from an outside party regarding the contract deductions and the annual incentive program from PRTC. It does not add up. And Ms. Robinson also submitted something that she wanted me to read about common sense, set of widely accepted beliefs. Common sense is sound practical judgment concerning everyday matters or a basic ability to perceive, understand, and judge that is shared by nearly all people. The first type of common sense, good sense, can be described as the knack for seeing things as they are and doing things as they ought to be done. The second type is sometimes described as folk wisdom, signifying unreflective knowledge, not reliant on specialized training or deliberate thought. Madam Chair, that's the end of the comments that were received for public comment time.
Thank you, and I believe some of those will be addressed later in the meeting. We can move now to item 8, the consent agenda. 8.1, I'll just read them first. It's to approve the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull anything out? Prince William County? Manassas City,
No.
Manassas Park,
No.
Fredericksburg, Stafford,
No.
Spotsylvania.
No.
And just to be clear, on the consent agenda, it's just the monthly jurisdictional financial report that we do every month. So is there a motion?
So moved. Rischel.
Motion by Mayor Rischel. Is there a second? Vice Chair Sabeski. Discussion. Prince William County.
None.
City of Manassas.
None.
Manassas Park.
None.
Fredericksburg. Stafford.
None.
Spotsylvania.
None.
Okay. Ms. Rodrigo, would you call the roll?
Victor Angry?
Aye.
Andrea Bailey? Aye. Kenny Bodie?
Aye.
Margaret Franklin?
Aye.
Jeffrey Vega?
Aye.
Pete Canlin?
Aye.
Pam Sadowski?
Aye.
Jeanette Rischel?
Yes.
Tanisha Allen?
Tanisha?
Aye.
Tanisha
Sorry, I
Allen?
said aye.
Cindy Shelton?
Aye.
Deborah Frazier?
Aye.
Todd Horsley?
Aye.
Elizabeth Guzman? Delegate Guzman?
I believe she's left the meeting.
Okay. And George Parker?
Aye.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay, we'll now move into Executive Director's time, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Schneider.
Thank you very much. As the commission is aware, OmniRide had its first 2 active employees test positive for COVID-19. We worked very hard to protect the identity of the impacted employees while also notifying the workforce and the public. We wish them the best of health and recovery. Meanwhile, this has created a high level of anxiety among employees. As a result, we've seen a sudden flurry of suggestions and ideas to help protect employees. Many of these were received in the last 24 hours, and some of the suggestions are actually very good, and we'll be implementing several of them through the existing COVID-19 driver safety group that was formed back in June in order to address some of these issues. So it's bus operators working with each other to do the seat spacing, et cetera, and we've already forwarded those to that working group so they can start addressing some of those very concerns. Examples of these were assigning the same bus day after day to the same employee wherever possible, and also suggestions about interacting with dispatchers and customers through distancing. We are in the process of purchasing driver barriers for buses. Our biggest delay has been the fact that everyone in the country has ordered them. So it's just trying to outfit them. MCI, for example, did not have something available, so they've had to work with an outside vendor to find one for our commuter coaches, but we're working through that process, and that's an active procurement right now. As quick as we can get them, we will certainly have them. Cleaning as part of our continued processes. We're constantly pushing for additional cleaning for the fleet and facilities and increasing sanitization, as well as constant information to remind customers and employees about PPE and distancing. The single hardest thing we're seeing right now is to enforce the employee use and customer use of PPE on a consistent basis. The operators, the drivers themselves are out there in the public, and it's very challenging for them. There have been instances where they've tried to enforce the mask issue, for example, or face covering, and have had people respond very aggressively toward them. So we want to minimize conflict for their safety, but also how do we balance that with health? So that continues to be an ongoing challenge. The CDC has also identified the fact that people drop their guard around family, friends, and now coworkers, which has become one of the most common sources of spread between those 3 groups, what we're seeing inside organizations. So we continue to monitor that. The American Public Transportation Association has a specialized working group with the CDC through FTA to share best practices with us. So we're not inventing this as a whole. We're moving through this with guidance, and there's been published white papers for recommendations. We remain currently at 85% level of services, and despite seeing a quick rise in ridership in early July, the ridership growth remains slow. It is coming back, but we've only seen about 30% of our pre-pandemic regular ridership return. Historically, we see our best ridership in September and October. So the next 60 days will give us a more complete picture of what we may see through the rest of 2020 and into 2021, and we'll start making decisions based on what we see there about what level of services we will continue to offer. Western facility update, the facility is nearing completion. Our next step will be recruiting for new staffing for the new facility manager, our contractor, Keolis, will be hiring on additional window dispatchers, personnel such as that. This also includes relocating some existing personnel to the new building to make additional space and purchase of budgeted items for new business systems such as furniture, copy machines, etc. We do not have the occupancy permit yet, as there are some outstanding inspections on items on the punch list. We have budgeted for a phased opening of the facility this year, and we'll start migrating operational groups to the facility throughout fall, such as training, some maintenance, and others. The plan is for full services to begin operating from that area in February 2021, and then we'll hopefully be in position to schedule an open house and welcome the community to visit. For the passenger rail update, to refresh the commission, I forwarded 9 names and resumes from PTRC jurisdiction members to DRPT for the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority. At this time, no action has been taken by the governor's office, so the authority membership remains unknown at this time. A few other items I wanted to address. We were given great news 2 weeks ago when the U.S. Transportation Security Administration notified us that we had been selected to receive their Gold Standard Award. We are just 3 transit systems to receive this award in 2020, and we are the first bus-only transit system in the National Capital Region to receive this award. Our counterparts at VRE and Metro have received this for their focus on security, and we join their ranks. We will be hosting a small but distant ceremony to receive our plaque and celebrate the award later in September, and then we will do some additional ongoing activities to recognize the many employees who contributed. We'll also put together a press release and an article for publication in the industry and promote this in a variety of ways. This leads into 2 special guests tonight on our Zoom call. Mr. Byron Lloyd, our Manager of Safety and Security, and Mr. Lamar Johnson, our Transit Amenities Coordinator. Each is receiving our Above and Beyond Award. I have Byron's and I have Lamar's. And they are receiving that, which recognizes employees who have made a very unique contribution to the organization that goes above and beyond their normal duties. Lamar was nominated by Parent Palestrant for his tremendous efforts in transforming our bus stops, our bus stop inventory, and his proactive management of amenities for cleanliness. If you've been out in the Manassas area, you've seen all our new bus stops. He's coordinated that, worked with homeowners, business owners, et cetera, and has done a fantastic job and has been holding feet to the fire for our cleaning service and trash collection. So he's done a great job with that. He is being recognized with the plaque, a pin for his lanyard, a bonus, and use of the Superstar parking space for a month, which will come in handy as the weather turns colder or wetter, depending on what night of the week it is. Byron Lloyd is our second recipient and is being recognized for leading OmniRide's safety and security campaign for the TSA base assessment, which resulted in the Gold Standard Award. To achieve the Gold Standard Award, we had to score at least 95% or better in each of the 17 content areas. That includes cybersecurity, pre-checks by bus operators, policy, training, all of those different items. And this does not happen by accident. And he has been jointly nominated by both Doris Lookaville, his supervisor, and myself for this achievement. We are the first bus-only system in the National Capital Region in an area that prides security like few others. This is a phenomenal accomplishment. So in addition to Lamar, we're recognizing Byron. Please join us virtually. I think they're both on the call. So if it's okay, maybe say a word or two so we can see your smiling faces.
How you doing? This is Byron Lloyd. I appreciate everything that was just said, and we're going to continue to do everything as possible to keep our entire region safe. That's the first and foremost rule of thumb, is keep everybody safe and secure. And I hope to continue that process, and anything you guys ever need, I'm here. So thank you, and thank you for the support of our executive director, Ms. Doris Lookaville, and all of our directors, and also the board members as well. I appreciate everything.
Lamar, are you still with us by chance? Maybe not. I believe there's been some power flickers in the immediate area, so it's possible we may have dropped off. So congratulate. obviously big contributions to the organization, and we're unbelievably proud. We're recognizing them virtually tonight. We've had employees hit 20-year milestones and 5-year milestones. It stinks that we can't really gather together and celebrate, but we will. And so we're tracking all of these, and we're probably going to have one heck of a celebration, hopefully, come spring. Finally, I wanted to provide you an update on the transition between First Transit and Keolis. We have our existing contract with First Transit that is being monitored closely by our quality assurance team for regular performance. Separately, we have an independent maintenance auditor who has inspected the fleet and identified defects that must be addressed. And we are performing a facility audit as well in accordance with the contract. Our quality assurance team continues with bus inspections, on-time performance, and customer service tracking as early as 4:30 in the morning, all the way into the evening shift, including overseeing the subcontractor that does the sanitization steps. We're working with Keolis currently to provide route and timing information for their run cut process to ensure a successful start of service on November 1st, which is a Sunday, but provides at least a day of breathing room before their operation begins in earnest. Keolis has opened its employee portal for new hiring and is beginning the recruitment process of existing non-management employees and is intending to bring in a nearly new management team, including an outside general manager. Key personnel have already begun working in earnest throughout August, and September and October are normally the major ramp-up periods as the new management team comes together and assembles and really begins to implement the training, the processes, and starts the formal hiring of employees. As you have heard, there is considerable fear that employees will not receive their full payout of benefits and accruals. I've spoken with First Transit at the local and corporate level to address these issues. And, the concerns and fears mentioned tonight are governed by a mix of labor law, the collective bargaining agreement, which is that contract between First Transit and their members, the union members, and of course the individual employee. Different employees have different tenure of service and they have different vacation utilization rates. First Transit has echoed at multiple levels that it will follow its policies and of course the law. If First Transit employees have concerns, they've been asked to contact their local HR team and review their individual benefits. We understand this is a period of high anxiety at every level, but as employees meet with their HR representative, they will continue to understand what will occur over the next 60 days as they transition from First Transit to Keolis. I've encouraged First Transit to provide additional resources for employees in the coming weeks to help address employee concerns. The feedback we received in the public comment has been shared with First Transit. For example, the request for accrual balances, I believe, is on paychecks, but it's also in their log-on systems for payroll. So it's just reminding employees sometimes of the resources they need, that they can avail themselves of, and they're committed to making that effort. Next month, I will be asking both First Transit and Keolis to separately and briefly outline their status in the contract transition process to keep the commission abreast of issues. So with that, Madam Chair.
Okay, I would like to say I've heard a lot of concerns as well from employees of First Transit about what they view as a lack of transparency, and what I see just from my experience over the past several months is really a lack of communication. And so, I hope that First Transit is doing what they can. I think we need to push them to be more proactive and more communicative with their employees, and really going to the employees before the employees have to go to them. I think that's necessary. I think this is a high stress time as we look at turnover, plus we're in the midst of COVID, plus, people are worried about their health and their safety. So it's really incumbent upon First Transit as they make this exit to do the right thing, step up to the plate, and really be proactive. I mean, a lot of employees, don't know the labor laws, to the T. I don't know labor laws to the T, right? And so most of the time, employees know what they get in every paycheck, and to a degree, that's the extent, and so it's on First Transit to take that step and provide more information, more transparency, and to do it on their own. And so that's something that I just want to echo. And I know that we've been trying to work hard and pushing First Transit to talk to their employees, but I think they need to do a better job of that, particularly as we go through this last month. Are there any questions for the Executive Director or comments, Prince William County?
Madam Chair.
Supervisor. Supervisor Angry and then Supervisor Boating.
And I'll be as brief as I can. I'm not new to this rodeo and how it plays out when you talk about employee issues. And the list that you brought up, there's some very specific, concerns in there. And I don't want to hide behind the letter of the law or how we say they didn't interpret something correct. I mean, these are our bus drivers that we've been talking about for a very long time since we got to this position. And we got to do a better job of taking care of them. Like, we shouldn't have to have had that list of concerns read off like this. So I'm very concerned, and I just want to say, and go on record again, as you said, in transparency and First Transit really doing all that they can to honor their contract with these employees, that they do so. And there are a lot of things there that we're doing post to kind of, maybe fix some safety issues or talk about things that may have should have done along the way. We gotta do better with it. Like this new, who is it again? Keolis coming out the gate. Keolis needs to have everything. Now, I don't want to get to that yet, so let's pick on First Transit. We have obligations that First Transit must meet to these employees before we can shake hands and wipe hands and move into this next chapter of what we need to do. And they need to be very clear and specific in honoring that. Like, I don't know if we need to monitor that, but I would say there's a lot of concern in just that fact there that we need to address. And it's last thing I'll say, it's so easy, and the one comment said about, their attitude. It's so easy for us not to be in the room. We can get these high-level briefings of statistics and data, and they read real well. But to be in the room when they're having these conversations, people oftentimes disrespect people. And I guarantee if we were in the room at that same time with that, we wouldn't see that. So it's never going to be what we see versus what really happens. And I just want to caution the fact that we need to make sure First Transit honors, to the T, to the letter, the contract and the obligation to these employees.
Supervisor Boating.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to echo much of what Supervisor Angry just said, but I also wanted to commend Dr. Schneider, especially in that last part of his commentary where he's personally going to be making sure that as we go through this transition process, he's checking on both the Keolis side and the First Transit side to make sure that folks are honoring their obligations. Wanted to echo some of what the chair just mentioned in terms of transparency and communication, because we are here partly because of past shortcomings in terms of those very issues. At the end of the day, a lot of the folks that work for First Transit who are making this transition, they are among our community members. They live where they work and they serve our community faithfully year after year after year. And it's important, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that they are made whole and they're taken care of, especially during a process and transition like this. And I just want to stress and highlight publicly that I hope that First Transit in particular, but also Keolis, but especially First Transit, continues to improve how they communicate. Just because we're at the end of the line with them in this situation doesn't mean that they should taper off in their responsiveness to our employees that are serving under them right now. In fact, I'm a firm believer in finishing stronger than you started. To that end, I hope that they take this into this process as strongly in a very transparent and communicative process as possible. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from Prince William County?
Yes.
Supervisor Bailey.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to commend Dr. Bob for his support and morale boosting for the employees. I think that was great. And in this transition, and just something that Supervisor Angry said, what we hear is not really what's going on, what we can see. So in this transition, I just want to make a suggestion to you. How many employees do we have?
Tax tag in total about 285 in the whole operation.
Okay, which is not a huge number. Just want to offer you a recommendation in terms of if you have the time, and I know you got a lot of time on your hands, but if you have the time, just offering the employees, thank you for your service with what's the train? First Transit, and welcome to the new future. as a morale booster.
Okay.
Just offering you that.
Okay. Any other comments, Prince William County? City of Manassas?
I won't, repeat what my colleagues have said because I agree with everything that's been said. I just, again, thank you, Dr. Schneider, for reaching out, not just to, locally First Transit, but at the corporate level, letting them know that we are watching and that we do expect accountability in, taking care of their employees, because they are their employees until the end of October, and hopefully we'll be able to transition very easily over to Keolis. But please make sure you stay on as much as you're able to in your role as executive director at being that liaison to make sure that these that First Transit is held accountable to their employees until the end of their contract.
Okay, Manassas Park,
Agree with everything said so far.
Fredericksburg, Stafford,
I'm not adding anything, so, no.
Spotsylvania. Okay, and just in closing, you know, we do stand with our bus operators and our dispatchers in making sure that they get everything that is owed to them, and that is our commitment to make sure that that happens. So thank you for that. Okay, we're approaching 9 o'clock, so we're going to go through the rest of the agenda very diligently. And so now we have a presentation for item 10, the diversity, equity, and inclusion assessment. And I believe we have about 5 slides, but a very important topic.
Okay, thank you. And I will thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, all commissioners. And I came to the meeting because I am having a real problem with my ears. So that's why I'm leaning in, because I can't hear you very well. And I couldn't hear on the Zoom, so I said it's better for me to come. So that's why I'm here. So I will ask if you have questions, if you will hold them to the end for me. And to the commissioners who are on the Zoom, I may not be able to hear you, and someone can certainly repeat for me, okay? When I was here in March, you all had a presentation on the diversity, equity, and inclusion assessment that was done. And you asked me to come back and raise a number of questions.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There were a number of comments made. I got to talk to some of you after the meeting. So I wanted to come and really walk you through, because a lot of you are new and weren't here actually when the assessment happened. Of course. So I wanted to, really give you some underneath details on this, about the purpose and, the objectives and everything surrounding the assessment. Could they go to the next slide? So let's just chat for a minute about the purpose of the assessment. The Prince William County Office of Quality, Affirmative Employment, and Diversity made several recommendations that came out of the EEO complaint that was filed. And those recommendations were that there needed to be more communication, training, and management communication in particular, really for transparency, for understanding, policies were being set, all of those kinds of things. And we were hired to do that. And so the objectives of the assessment were to really help Omnirad implement a cultural change program. I won't read all of those things like this because they're before you, but I can tell you that a lot of what I found, and I'm talking back with them for students, but a lot of what I found, and when I started talking to Omnirad, those objectives are what came out of conversations, just a lot of the mutual trust and, understanding and, the interaction among employees, I think. Because I came out here and observed before I actually started writing anything or talking to employees, I came here myself to serve. I came probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 times to employee events. I spent at least 4 hours with Dr. Snyder. I talked to the senior team, and I talked to some of the employees as well, because I made sure that they were able to reach out. So, the things you see there, I mean, we really, are trying to, when we did this assessment, identify some of those problems, identify some of the major issues, helping, you know, the organization improve its cultural climate, through training and education, and just really trying to, we did our assessment, understand and prioritize what needed to happen. Next slide, please. You have there's a lot, there is and continues to be a lot of misinformation around how the assessment was executed. Employee awareness was a really big part of it. So in writing, Snyder made sure that all employees were aware and very we have to practice, telling why the assessment was important, you know, why their opinions were critical, and how they would be engaged and their conversations, their input would help form my recommendation, because without that kind of input, what I do is worthless. So, there's a lot of employee awareness efforts, and I can tell you during that process, I actually have never seen an organization do so much outreach to employees because we could not get them to respond. I even reached out to people directly, even through that engagement of you know, the first transit manager, the records manager here, there was still some, and I'll tell you that a lot of the reluctance has nothing to do with you, or board members, or your past board, or your time. Organization has been, how can I say it politely? This organization has been in a really bad place around addressing some of the issues that have been raised by the board. And it has gone on for decades. This is not new, and it's going to take a really long time to dig out of it. So, you know, when we engaged the employees, we did surveys, we did interviews. There's some discussion about, you know, the interviews should have included everybody who was part of the EEL complaint. And, you know, I did a briefing for the staff too about a month ago. I explained to them, I asked for the agency to give me a diversity of employees, both from department level, tenure, men, women, black, white, whatever. I needed to have people in that room that I could sit down, and I personally did all the interviews. Now, my staff do, I did every single one of them. The other way was all the employees were engaged was through a survey that we did on with SIR, who also was part of the team. We sent, I think there was probably about 285 employees at the time, including First Transit. We got 122 responses, and that's including Omni-Ride and First Transit employees. And I can tell you that in 32 years of being a consultant on diversity, that was it was the response we got from employees. And again, you know, I was the only one that was seeing that FIR, and I was the only one seeing the surveys, and we knew who was responding and who wasn't, and we were actually reaching out to them ourselves, begging them to respond to just know that. The other thing that we did, we examined all of the policies and practices of Omni-Ride around EO, affirmative action, hiring, HR, we looked at all of that. We also looked at other agencies, diversity, policies and practices. Every month, I either came or called, we get phone calls, an update with the employee advisory committee, or employee advisory group that was made up of senior people within the agency, and they were advisable because if I was getting information, I had more, it caused me, when I'm getting information from employees, it caused me to ask more questions. And that way I could get more information that wasn't readily available. And employees also sent me information, directly to my email. They were able to call me, so I had many conversations. And then we, did findings and recommendations. And, I just want to walk you through just a little bit. If you can go to the next slide, please. Because I've touched upon some of these things already. But, we focused our interviews on and to really understand, do you even understand what diversity, equity, and inclusion means? And you got the general gist of what it meant, but it was very clear to us in that interview process that there was never a discussion about diversity, equity, inclusion in the history of the organization in a meaningful way. A lot of the things that, I'll give you a couple of anecdotes. People told me that they had never even had any training until CEO was with that. When I asked people, about the affirmative action plan for minorities and women, they had never been trained on it. And many of these folks had been here for years and years. They knew about it. When I asked them about diversity policies, they knew about it because there's a culture in the kitchen. These are the kinds of things that came out of that assessment. And it's important for you to know that because there's, I really know that this, like I said earlier, it has been ingrained in this organization for decades. It's not new. During interviews, I even had people sit and break down and cry in the interview because the stuff has gone on so long. And nobody ever gave me anything about it until now. So, just know that. Next slide. And I mentioned, the policies that I looked at. Those are just a sampling of some of the things. I read the complaint. It was a redacted, copy of it, but it gave me a lot of information. And so when we developed questions, interviewed people, it was free flowing. They could tell me anything. I mean, I had a guy, but a lot of the policies that you see there, nobody even knew about them. It's alarming that they didn't for decades. I mean, no one ever talked with employees in the way that your affirmative action plan calls for. And on that note, I will say that, the agency, all training agencies, every agency has an affirmative action plan that they are required by the federal government to provide. That's a numbers game. Do we have enough men? Do we have enough women? Do we have enough minorities? The agency does not have what is known as an affirmative action plan, which is what we're doing now, which came out of the strategic plan that I developed, for the organization, and they are now working to implement. I read your board minutes thoroughly for years. I mean, whatever I can find online, I went through all of your minutes. There was barely discussion around diversity or inclusion. Some of the comments, and you can go to the next slide, please. Some of the comments and key findings that came out of all of those interviews and from your survey. And when it says, employees don't feel like the board values them, it's not you all. This was years of board. you know, board members, board actions more than board people. People talked about how, you know, they had to work harder with less and didn't get paid for it, or didn't even get a thank you from the board. It was those kinds of things. It wasn't personal. It wasn't like, it was just, you know, we really worked hard to come up with initiatives that serve the public, because I can tell you, people really love working here. They think it's a great place to work. They did, that is one of the findings, that they really, and they really care about the community. So on the other flip side of that, when they say work really hard to develop programs that come to you, accomplish those things, and when I say you, I mean board, I mean you all personally, and they get shut down even after it's something that, you know, was a policy that you adopted 5-10 years ago, and then they bring us forward after working on it, it's really hurt. So it's those kinds of things, you know, that came out of it. And the employees need a ton of training. I don't know, is that what you're asking us to do?
I don't want to interrupt, but for purposes of time, if we can get through the next couple of slides.
I can't hear you.
For purposes of time, if we can get through the next couple of slides.
Yeah, we can. Just don't make up for that. But I just, you know, don't point those findings out. And you can actually go to the next slide. But I want to give you these anecdotes because it's important to me. The recommendations, some of them have happened and come around the way. And there's the diversity, equity, inclusion, safety that posted now, first time ever. Communication is happening, finding ways for the board to get engaged. We're working on that. Your diversity, equity working group should be applauded. A group of employees and a lot of employees that have volunteered, which is nice. And more getting engaged every day. So those are the recommendations that were made, some of the key ones. If you want to go to the next slide. And this is just a snapshot of the execution as a result of the work that came out of this assessment. There are employee briefings now, we have the diversity statements, the DEI working group. I mean, those folks are really working hard to develop the strategic, you know, metrics for the strategic plans that you all asked for, and there are a number of things that have happened, and a lot of these things were happening while the assessment was underway. It was not that waited until that was done, but I can tell you that the employees here are really interested in moving forward. And there's a lot of engagement, a lot of dialogue, and a lot of effort being put into getting the strategic plan. And it is a plan, it's going to evolve. But they have done a lot of those things that you see up there already. Thank you.
Are there any questions from Prince William County?
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Roger Bailey?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, first of all. Thank you for your due diligence in following through with this. I am blown away by the details that you presented to us. And as a board member, I think we need to help Dr. Rob get engaged in making changes and bringing us forward to today as it relates to diversity and inclusion and maintaining that support level that is here in this building to make sure that everything works. And because we have people coming to this community that are experts in this field, and this reputation that is being built will be talked about as a place to work. But we want there to be harmony in the environment as we exist to feed our families. And so I hear what you're saying. I am blown away. I'm blown away, so thank you.
Any other questions from Prince William County? City of Manassas?
I just want to say thank you as well. I know that this is something we've talked about since I've been on the commission, so I appreciate all the attention to detail. Thank you very much.
Manassas Park?
Yeah, I want to say thank you also. I think this is an important step towards turning the ship around. And we've got the blueprint. We need follow through, as Supervisor Angry said earlier, and Supervisor Bailey, it's got to be follow through.
Stafford County?
I just want to add a comment, Ms. West, that since 2018, when I started, I mentioned earlier about how it's really kind of fearful as a commissioner going out in the buses, but I've noticed over the last year how the employees and people are reacting differently. And so I feel that the focus that this board, this commission has with Dr. Schneider, are you a doctor? Oh, good, I didn't know that one.
Don't have a heart attack, it won't go well. I can use the machine out there.
I actually can see the difference down, in the working environment. So I really thank you. I know it's late. I don't want to talk, Mr. Angry, I'm not going to talk about you. But it's like, it's okay. But really, thank you for your thoroughness, and we care so much. We want to make it a change, and thank you for being part of that.
Fredericksburg? And Spotsylvania? Okay. I just want to say, very important discussion, particularly as we come off some of the culture issues that we've had over the past several years. This is critical, particularly as we're dealing with a lot of what we see going on in our country. This is the optimal time to move this forward. We've talked before, and I know Dr. Schneider and Ms. Pandek and I talked about an idea I had of how to better get the commission or how to get the commission more involved in these discussions, whether it's through the DEI working group or other means. I know we've kind of gone back and forth about what that looks like and if that's a good idea. I do think that there's a role that the commission should play that's more intimate than just the monthly meetings. And so we'd like to have further discussion about what that could look like. Won't discuss it now, but hope to have you come back and provide an update, and hopefully we can go into this discussion more.
Okay.
So thank you for that. All right, and what I would like to do for purposes of time, the next action items for 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, and 11.4, without objection, I would like to consolidate those items and just have Dr. Schneider explain briefly what each of those are. They're pretty standard, but we do need to go over each item and vote on it, but I would like to vote on it as a block. Without objection? With that, Mr. Schneider, would you please explain?
Absolutely. The first item, 11.1, is a retroactive emergency fuel purchase. We do a consortium purchase with WMATA, and they completed their purchase and did so in a period that the commission was not going to have its next meeting. So therefore, we would not be able to buy diesel fuel under this new joint procurement. So what you have before you is actually two items. One is retroactively approving emergency diesel fuel purchase. That's 11.1. And then secondarily is to execute the contract with James River Solutions to purchase our ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. So the emergency procurement was literally for the purchase of diesel fuel to keep buses running. 11.3 is to extend the pilot period for the paratransit service. Originally, when we launched that service, we had anticipated a 6 to 9 month pilot period, but because of the pandemic, the ridership has been so low that we really haven't been able to assess it. And we want to be able to make some meaningful decisions about where routes go, investments that we can make at the hub in downtown Manassas, but we can't make those recommendations because we don't really have enough data. So what we were asking the commission to do is to continue this until we have set a trigger of 75% of the pre-pandemic ridership has returned. That is a trigger that then allows us the duration to then make the evaluation and come to the commission to ask for a vote for any additional changes or a final approval. And then the last item, 11.4, is a task order for a communications contract for the Vanpool Alliance. This is paid out of the revenue earnings of the Vanpool Alliance, so there's no budget contribution directly and distinctly. As the Vanpools operate, there is a program that allows us to generate revenue. That revenue is what pays for this marketing program, and especially now that we're seeing a reduction in slugging, but now you're going to see an increase in longer haul transportation possibly, as maybe people can migrate further out and telework, but Vanpool 2 days a week. This will be an exceptionally important contract for us moving forward. So those are the 4 items, Madam Chair.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the consolidated 11 items?
Marshall?
Second.
Moved by Mayor Richel, seconded by Supervisor Angry. Is there discussion? Prince William County, the only question I have with regards to paratransit, there's no additional budget item associated with the extension. Okay. Any other questions from Prince William County? City of Manassas? Manassas Park?
Yes, as to when we'll achieve 75%?
No, ma'am, I don't have the, I will follow up with that and just
Okay.
do a rough estimate.
No, ballpark, thank you.
Stafford County?
None.
Spotsylvania? Fredericksburg? Okay, and then for chair's time, one administrative item, I believe, I'm sorry, we have to vote. That's right. My apologies. Told in my job.
Careful there, Madam Chair. Go too fast.
Fine job. All right, discussion, Ms. Rodrigo, would you call the roll?
Victor Angry? Aye. Andrea Bailey? Aye. Kenny Bodie?
Aye.
Margaret Franklin?
Aye.
Leslie Vega?
Aye.
Pete Camlin?
Aye.
Pam Sadowski?
Aye.
Jeanette Richel?
Yes.
Tanisha Allen?
Come on, Tanisha.
Yes. Sorry.
Hey.
Cindy Shelton?
Yes.
Deborah Frazier?
I believe Ms. Frazier jumped off the meeting.
Caught you unaware.
Todd Horsley?
Yes.
And George Parker?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, that resolution is approved.
Okay. Moving into chair's time, very quickly administratively, I believe Supervisor Allen would like to change her abstain vote to a yes vote for the minutes section. Okay, and then the only thing I have to say is, again, just want to reiterate that we want to make sure that there's a smooth transition between First Transit and Keolis. That's a top priority for me right now. We've been doing a magnificent job so far in keeping our bus operators and dispatchers employed even throughout COVID-19. That was a very good thing that we did in order, and other companies across the region have not necessarily done the same, so PRTC does deserve a lot of credit for that in First Transit. But we have to move forward in making sure that there's a smooth transition to Keolis. That means rectifying the incentive bonus confusion and making sure that First Transit steps up to the plate. So I do want to make that very clear that that's something that we're focused on. And with that, I will move into Commissioner's time, and we'll just call the roll and go through very quickly.
All right. Victor Angry?
No comment.
Andrea Bailey? No comment. Kenny Bodie?
No comment.
Leslie Vega?
No comment.
Pete Camlin?
No comment.
Pam Sadowski?
No comment.
Jeanette Richel?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm continually grateful that in light of all the falling revenue in businesses and companies and organizations, that there were no layoffs whatsoever at PRTC. So I think we need to thank our Chair Franklin, for that, because I know you are a driving force that everything would be stable at the PRTC. So thank you.
Tanisha Allen?
No comment.
Cindy Shelton?
I have a comment. I asked Dr. Schneider for an in-depth discussion, education on 5307 funding. I'm offering it up when he does that. If there's somebody else that wants to go, meeting at the same time, you would, educate more than me at that point. So, Pam, I think you want to do that? Okay, so we'll just coordinate that with you, Dr. Snyder.
Todd Horsley
No comment.
and George Parker.
Pass.
Okay, and with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Second discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? See you next month, thank you.
I think you have to call the roll on that.
I hope not.
Cindy, what type of questions are there?
Like, number one, like,
Thank you so much, everyone.
part of my question is that, like, what allocates to
Information.
PRTC, because they're a direct recipient, right? But they're,
And,
what happens to the rest of the money?